Welcome back to episode 44 of my journey to complete Pokémon Soul Silver. Make sure to follow to stay updated. We are going to travel around the Johto region, getting all the items we couldn't get to before, and catching all the Pokémon we couldn't catch before. I spent the beginning of this episode evolving a bunch of Pokémon and added their data to the Pokédex. A total of 21 Pokémon were added to the Pokédex before I started traveling around. The first place I flew to was Mahogany Town, so that I could go to Route 44 and find a Lickitung and Tangela to catch. Interestingly enough, the first Pokémon I ran into was Entei. He fled, and after I found a Lickitung to catch, then I caught the Tangela I was looking for. Afterwards, I trained up Lickitung and Tangela to evolve, bringing the total of new Pokémon in this episode to 23. Next, I started a mission to catch the two roaming dogs. They fled from me for an hour before I finally got Entei and added its data to the Pokédex. Then I caught Raikou and added its data to the Pokédex. This brings the total of new Pokémon to 25. Next thing to do was fly to Azalea Town, so I can enter the Union Cave and with Surf, explore new places. I went down a floor and found Pokemaniac Andrew to challenge. Feraligatr spit water onto two different Marowaks, and I defeated Andrew. I continued surfing and found the second Pokemaniac to challenge. Calvin sent out Kangaskhan, and Feraligatr used Crunch to do most of the damage, and then finished it with Slash. I defeated Calvin and continued on my way. I found an elixir. I continued searching and was challenged by Ace Trainer Nick. They had all three of the Kanto starters, but Feraligatr took them all down, and I defeated Nick. Afterwards, I found a Hyper Potion. The next trainer I found to challenge was Ace Trainer Gwen. Feraligatr took out Eve, and then Hypno took a few turns to take down Jolteon. Then Feraligatr came back out to deal with Flareon. Lastly was Vaporeon, and Feraligatr dealt with that as well to defeat Gwen. The next challenger was Ace Trainer Emma and their Poliwhirl. This was a quick battle, and I defeated Emma. That finished everything on the south side, so I headed to the north side of Union Cave and find Hiker Leonard to challenge. Feraligatr took down Geodude, then Noctowl took out Machop, and I defeated Leonard. Next challenger was Hiker Philip. Feraligatr took out their Geodude and then their Graveler. I defeated Philip and then continued to the ruins of Alph. There I found Psychic Nathan to challenge. One crunch from Feraligatr was enough, and I defeated Nathan. In the first ruins, I completed the puzzle and fell through the hole. I completed the second puzzle and fell through another hole. That's all I can do in the ruins of Alph for now. So the next place I headed to was Slowpoke Well. I went surfing looking for items. First, I found this erratic scientist who gave me a King's Rock, and then on the other side, I found TM18 Rain Dance. Next place was surfing on Route 34, where I found a Nugget. I continued south and found 3 Ace Trainers to battle. I started with 2, Jen and Irene. Feraligatr took out Goldeen, while Ampharos took out Staryu. Next was Seeking and Starmie, who both went down exactly how their youngers did. I defeated Jen and Irene, and then was challenged by Ace Trainer Kate. Feraligatr took out Shelder in 1 and Cloyster in 2, and I defeated Kate. After the battle, she gave me a Power Herb. The next place I traveled to was the Safari Zone, so I could go south to Route 47. I took a long way to get to it, but finally I found the White Flute. After that, I traveled to Mount Mortar. After using Surf and Waterfall, I run into a new challenger, Super Nerd Hugh and their Seadra. It took 2 crunches from Feraligatr, and I defeated Hugh. Next I found a Max Potion, then an Escape Rope, followed by an Elixir and an Iron. Then it was a Max Revive. After finding the items, I ran down the stairs to find Black Belt Kyo and challenge them. I used a 1-2 combination on both Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan to take them both out. I defeated Kyo, and he wanted to give me a Pokémon as a reward, but my party was full and I would have to come back later. I went back up and found an Iron Ball, a Dragon Scale, TM40 Aerial Ace, and a rare candy. I made room in my party and went back to Kyo to obtain Tyrogue and add their data to the Pokédex. The last place I needed to go back to was Lake of Rage. I had to go back on a Wednesday because for some reason that is the only day when the rain isn't pouring down so hard that it fills the lake. The first thing I do is challenge Ace Trainer Lois. Feraligatr makes light work of their Mareep, but Ninetales survives a hit and then confused Feraligatr. After hitting itself too many times, it finally takes down Ninetales and I defeated Lois. I used Surf to find a full heal. Next, I ran into Ace Trainer Alton. Alton had all the second evolutions of the Kanto starters. Feraligatr took down Ivysaur, then Noctowl was sent out to handle Wartortle, and Dugong took out Charmeleon with Aquatail. I defeated Alton and then continued on until I found a max revive. The last thing to do was talk to Wesley of Wednesday. They gave me a black belt, and after I found a full restore. That was everything I needed to do in this episode. If you made it all the way through the video, please give it a like and make sure to follow to stay updated. Next episode, I will be getting my team ready and taking on the Elite Four.